KFUG Community Radio for Crescent City, Del Norte, and beyond. Let's see, it's 1 minute past 11, so let's do the legal ID. KFUGLP, Crescent City, that's us. Just Paul with you. The show is Community Service, and we are live in the studio with Supervisor District 2, Lori Cowan. How are you doing this morning, Lori?
Great. Thanks for having me, Paul.
It's good to see you. You said the last time you were in the Fug House there was nobody here, and it really wasn't safe.
Yes, as a realtor, I was touring this property. I knew the property well.
Oh, man.
It looks great.
Well, good, because now there's people here, but it's still not safe. So, no.
Oh, thanks.
So I invited you on to come on today and talk about this vote that occurred with the Board of Supervisors. When was that? Tuesday, I guess. Now,
yes.
I didn't know anything about the meeting. I knew it was going to happen. I was out of town for the weekend. Come back in, get settled in, sit down and watch this, and I'm blown away by what occurs. Probably the best place to start then would be the Facebook post that you put out, the statement that you made online about this meeting and this issue.
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and read this just to kind of get a little bit of thought on this. So it basically, what I was saying is, I wanted to give some clarity on the strategy for the temporary ban, along with what now will happen now that the ban has been lifted. Mm-hmm. Lifting the ban will not force us to move forward, as stated by Bob Berkowitz. The working group will continue to do what they were tasked by the consensus of the Board of Supervisors, creating an ordinance that works for Del Norte County, all of us. The Cannabis Working Group was put together and approved by the county, or by the board in September, again, by unanimous vote. The group is made up of county employees from CDD, that's the Community Development Department, local growers, retailers, business owners, the City of Crescent City, and the Sheriff's Department. They've been working together since October. A temporary ban was put into place to protect us from the state issuing permits without benefit of local control, so basically an ordinance. By law, the first temporary ban was for 45 days, voted in by all 5 of the supervisors. We were told this would be followed by an extension in January of the temporary ban up to 10 months. Tuesday, by a vote of 3-2, the ban was not continued, meaning Mr. Berkowitz and Mr. Gitlin changed their direction completely, and by doing so, gave up local control and regulation to the state of California. So as of today, this Friday, I believe, the state of California will now be regulating all cannabis activity in Del Norte County. We no longer have local control. I can't stress that enough. The reason for the temporary bans were to give the county and the people of Del Norte County the time necessary to put in place cannabis ordinances. Our goal was to create an ordinance that protects our children, our local growers, merchandisers, businesses, environment, law enforcement, and our neighbors. So, the little tidbit, thanks to Bob and Roger, we no longer have control. The state does. Mm-hmm. They thought this would push us into something. They're wrong. I will continue to support the local cannabis working group in completing their tasks, consistent with the direction of the board. I will look at all the facts and data and vote to approve an ordinance that works for the people of Del Norte County, not for their agenda. Unfortunately, the only way right now to take back local control is to put in effect a permanent ban until the ordinance are in place. I don't know what or it will happen. We're not really sure. And we may not have, back local control at all. It could be months. It could be, not at all. I don't know. I don't know what that happens. I can tell you there's going to be a lot of cost to the taxpayer, and you can thank Bob and Roger for that as well. Right now, county council is looking at permanent ban and what that means. Mm-hmm. Someone asked me, "Are you for a permanent ban?" I don't know because I don't have all the facts yet. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What does a permanent ban mean to everybody? I think it's betrayal. I mean, we've been working on this for quite a while.
Yeah, there's a process in place for several months.
And let me run down that really quick because a lot of people don't realize that. I see a lot of stuff out there, and so I hear the questions. Why wasn't something done a long time ago? Well, I don't know what happened a few years ago. I've only been on the board since last January. Mm-hmm. And as you know, everything was passed on the books back in November. So for us, once we got on the board, February, we So Joel, let me back up a little bit. Joel Blair Campbell, he's our county counsel who's been working on this and looking into it for a while.
I feel for that guy after watching that meeting.
Yeah.
I just that was the exasperated face of Joel.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So I'm sorry. Go on.
No. So first we started with workshops. We wanted to have public workshops outside of our meetings to bring everybody in to see what the county wants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to do an ordinance. Normally, the department brings it to the board and we look at it and it goes through environmental review and it goes to planning and we approve it. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, cannabis is a little bit different. You know, we need to get the take of all the local growers. We already have families here who are growing. We already have people who have shops.
Yeah.
They're here. They're here. They're living with us. And it was great. The workshops have been great. A lot of input. So we had the first one in February. We went over the overview of medical and recreational cannabis. We had another one in April. We committed to zoning and environmental impacts. One in June was criminal and civil enforcement. Had another one in July. John Young from Yolo County came out to talk about fees, staff cost, impacts to the departments, you know, what they are going through. August was all about taxes. A lot of people don't realize California is getting 25% right off the top.
Yeah. Basically, it's what Oregon's doing, right?
Yeah. So we need to bring it to the voters. What are you guys willing to pay? 35%? 45%?
Yeah,
we
and
don't
what does
know.
that mean? Where will that money go? Is it going to go to Sacramento? Will it stay local? How much of it will stay local?
Exactly.
All of that. Yeah, these all need to be ironed out.
25% will go to Sacramento. Period.
Okay.
Flat off the top.
Just right off.
People need to know that 25%
Wow,
goes
okay.
to the state.
And so
we have to go beyond that 25%.
Yeah.
That will stay local.
Wow.
And that's the question that we need to bring back.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
So let me be clear about this. So these workshops began. What was the first one you said?
February.
In February, and then by September, you guys formed the working group,
Yes.
right? So it wasn't just started in September. You have begun the process going way back to the
Yes.
beginning of 2017.
Absolutely.
So this is, and because it is such an important issue and a convoluted issue, you've got to spend the time and do the diligence basically to get to good ordinances and a good situation in Del Norte County, and it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
The logic. Now, anybody sitting back and kind of halfway paying attention to this, they go, oh, all right, sure, yeah, the Board of Supervisors voted to ban cannabis in Del Norte County. Oh, and now they're going to vote on a permanent ban, and they just think you guys are banning. But that's not the underlying logic behind it. The ban was simply to keep local control while we worked out our stuff.
Absolutely correct.
Okay. So
there's only been one person that I've heard say absolutely no cannabis in Del Norte County, and that's Roger Gitlin. That's the only one who has said it from the dais.
And there are people, I understand too, and this is what's really interesting about getting local involvement with the cannabis working group, and we'll talk with Jesse more about it, but I have talked with Jesse about this, is that there are people on the local cannabis group who are not pro-cannabis.
Absolutely.
And so that's taking the whole county is involved in creating this ordinance, right?
That's our goal. That's what we set out to do. This is Del Norte County. It's our county.
And first thing you got to understand about Del Norte County is we don't want no state coming in here and telling us what to do. That goes back as long as we've been a county. So that's just part of being in Del Norte. Okay, so the logic being these bans will be in place while we work out responsible, informed ordinances that will govern the cannabis industry.
Correct. And is the ultimate word.
And everybody,
no longer.
And before this week, it was assumed everybody was on the same page with this.
Absolutely.
Correct?
We spent all this time, and you never know. I mean, I thought we had a plan. I thought we discussed this back in September when we formulated this plan as a board.
Yeah.
But I guess people change their minds.
A unanimous vote.
Absolutely, a unanimous vote. Yeah.
Now, so this last week, then, as Chris Howard asked for the vote to be polled, and at this very dramatic moment, right? Of course, when they're polling the vote, Bob Berkowitz stops everything, and he's got a statement.
He always has a speech.
And
every meeting, everything, he's got a speech. Him and Roger. I think he writes them for both of them.
Is it? Well, they seem to work in tandem. At least they did. In that
They
meeting
meet regularly. Yeah.
So that's not a Brown Act thing because it's just two of them, right?
No, it takes three. Yeah, it takes three, so they can do that. They're fine. They're totally in.
Okay, so he stops everything and says that all of a sudden, out of the blue, he's not going to vote to continue this ban because, if I remember correctly, it was unfair to local businesses, and he was also goading the rest of the board to make a public statement on cannabis. That was part of his speech as well.
Absolutely, I think he wants. It's election season. Let's be honest. He's publicly said from the dais he doesn't want Hemmingson and Howard, and I think he's trying to. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Well, how is cannabis an issue? Is there a reluctance on the board board to openly state what your personal cannabis issues
Oh, gosh, no. I think what we are taught is you take in all the information. Mm-hmm. You
Be
get all
fair.
the facts. We can only discuss it from the dais. Otherwise, like you say, it's a Brown Act violation.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try to go into the meetings I can only speak of myself, but
Sure.
with an open mind to take in all the information that I have been given, listen to the people at the meeting. That's your time, folks, to come and give us your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then make an intelligent vote. So to come in with some preconceptions of what you're going to do sometimes is, taken away. And I don't think, I can only talk again myself. I don't know how to put this. I have in my mind what I would like to see for cannabis, but I am only one.
Sure.
We are a board of 5. The 5 will make the decision. I am one. When I am one, I'm nothing. Does that make sense? So it really, Joel said it. I can come up with an ordinance, but who knows? I can do the same thing.
Can I ask you what your personal views on cannabis are?
I want to see. I'm okay with people smoking it. That's their deal. I don't personally smoke it, but then again, I don't drink. I'm a very boring person that way. But to each his own. It is illegal. It has been. Medical has been illegal since the 90s. Let's not forget that. All of a sudden, it's a big rip-roaring discussion. It's been around, guys, for a while now. I want to see limited permits, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's 10 or 20. I want the cost of those permits to be enough to cover the law enforcement and the person from code enforcement to regulate.
Okay.
So is that 10 at 20,000? Is that 20 at 20,000? I don't know what that calculation is, but I just want to make sure that we're covered. I want to see boutique grows, which means under 1,000 square feet. Personally, I'd like to see them inside and in equipment used to keep the smell down.
Sure.
But I would like to see not only one shop, because I'm one for competition, so one isn't fair, but I don't want to see 8 or 9 shops.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhere in there. I don't know exactly. Again, I'm just trying to collect the information.
And again, sitting up there and waiting for the group like the cannabis working group, like the county, to come together and sort of come to you with, we here as a county is what we're comfortable with. Is that what you're waiting to hear?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because again,
exactly.
It's not about me. It's about my constituents. It's about you guys.
Exactly.
What do you want? I have learned, it was really, I hate to say fun, but that was kind of the word, going through the workshops with all the growers and learning and asking questions. And, if you guys can go back and look at some of them, just the back and forth. What do you, trying to understand what they need. Trying to understand what that takes. I don't know. I know nothing about, I know more about cannabis now, but but realistically, I've learned a lot in the last year, and that's what it's all about. That's what the supervisor is all about. Learning, asking the questions, taking it all in, and then voting.
And that is a very, very stark delineation with many members of the board, in that there are people who like yourself seem to be there listening to the public. And then there are other people who seem to be waiting for their chance to talk, as opposed to actually listening. They've got an agenda. They've got something they're going to see. They're going to
statement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at a very dramatic, and again, I was like, oh, here he goes. This very dramatic moment during the vote when they're polling the vote for the to continue the ban for another 10 months, which everybody in the room assumed is going to happen at the meeting this week. Bob makes this statement, says he's not going to vote to continue the ban. He's joined by Gitlin. Gitlin has this schemata that he reads saying, we need to instruct the cannabis
60,
working 30 to 45, 60 to 70, all these times to come up with this ordinance and this ordinance and this ordinance. How realistic is it to demand something, a ban or not? How realistic is it to demand to impose a timeline on? In fact, before that question, let me back up. I'm sorry. There was debate about how much direction the working group had been given from the board. And there seemed to be a very philosophical divide as to the role of the working group vis-a-vis the board because of this direction input. Did the cannabis working group get enough direction from the board? Was it even your role to give them a whole bunch of direction? I think that may be the question. What's the relationship then between the board and the cannabis working group and the direction of that group? The thing that Bob criticized. Well,
Bob flat out said they had no direction. I mean, Go back and listen to what he said. And I was just in utter disbelief. I'm sure you couldn't see it because the cameras probably didn't catch it, but I was
could hear
shocked.
it in your voice, yeah.
But I, at that time, then turned to Joel, who was at the podium and I said, do you feel that you were given direction? His answer was yes. I then turned to Jesse and said, do you feel you had the direction you needed? He said yes. I then turned to Heidi Kunzel from CDC and asked her the same question, and she said yes. I just wanted to clarify that what Bob had said was incorrect.
Okay. And it's not a matter of it being a philosophical difference, right?
They felt, 3 key members of this working group felt that they had the correct direction. And I was shocked when he said that. I don't know why I was. I shouldn't be shocked by anything he says anymore, but I was shocked. We have worked diligently at this all year. So for someone to say that, and it was hurtful. I mean, these guys are working hard.
Yeah.
And to say that they aren't and that they're not doing their job and now we're going to impose do it now.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not going to be forced into quick instead of correct.
So, well, before we get to that, I have working toward this specific question. Let's start with facts on the ground right now today. Then, some entrepreneur out there he's got the money, and he goes to the state and he gets a license for whatever, a grow, for retail, for whatever.
Looked at it this morning to see the process. Read all the way through it.
Really? What sort of process do you have to do?
It's not too hard. You go online and you fill out and you give them some information and submit the application. They'll come back to the county and the county will get an email. This is per Joel. And there's 2 questions. Is this person in compliance or is this person not in compliance? And now our county council has to answer, yes, they are in compliance.
Because there's no ordinance against which to be judged.
And then, so let's go to that. So anybody, we could have 10, we could have 100.
Right. So it could be, we could have the cannabis district and it could be.
Yep. So I was also trying to figure out, okay, so is there a limit? And there isn't.
There isn't.
There's no limit.
State doesn't
So,
say.
and then, I'm not a big Facebooker. Sorry, people out there. I'm having people say, Lori, you really need to get out there and get this information. I'm horrible at it. I admit it. I'm going to try to get better. I promise. But somebody commented, well, it's best for state to have control. Okay, guys, this is what state control means.
Yeah.
They're giving out the permits. They're collecting the fees. So now we have all the responsibility of enforcement and the problems, and we get none of the revenue.
Exactly.
Again, none of the revenue, 0.
And I thought it was actually kind of cool that the state was going, no, we're going to leave final arbitration to this whole issue with the counties, just to let local communities decide what their standards will be. Okay, so now we don't have standard.
No.
And in order to get a permanent ban on, and the permanent ban, it was agreed upon only because it is the simplest ordinance to write. What did Joel say in the meeting? It's 1 sentence.
Yeah, he can do it. I mean, it still has to go through a process and it'll still take 30 to 60 days. But again, I don't know. I know we were in agreement for him to possibly look into it and write it.
Okay.
But I think after that, I think we were all kind of in shock.
Yeah.
I know since then, and I believe Chair Howard asked for this, but he went to county council and we're trying to find out the ramifications of that.
Okay.
We don't want to put something in that's not going to work too,
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
In the meeting, I want to be clear to everybody listening, in the meeting, the permanent ban option was focused upon because it was the quickest, easiest ordinance to get on the books.
What do we do to stop state control?
Exactly.
And Joel said the only thing you can stop state control with right now,
quickly, as quickly as possible,
is a permanent ban.
And that's still 2 months, right, for the whole process?
Could be 30.
It could be condensed, but yeah,
30 to 60 days. It's still a process.
So at the very least, there's a month of an open window here in which the state could willy-nilly just give out anybody, and Del Norte would have to deal with it.
Yep. So what happens when you're downtown or wherever, and you've got this shop?
Quit asking my next question.
I'm sorry.
I'll just leave. Go interview
I am
yourself,
thinking
Lori.
about this all day long. I mean, my head is spinning.
That's my next question.
What ifs? I'm a business person here, and
you've got a state license. You're sitting there. All of a sudden, this ordinance comes up that will affect your business out of the blue, and you're already there. What happens then?
It's up to the county to deal with that. If there's 12 dispensaries, I couldn't think of the word, and we're only allowing 2 or 3, what happens to those people?
Yeah, who gets weeded out?
Guess who gets sued?
Right.
I like that. Who gets weeded out? I don't know, Paul.
Guess who gets sued? And that's the county,
Guess
which
who gets
means
sued? Again, another cost.
Us, all of us.
Unnecessary cost.
Wow.
We're not a rich county. We don't just. We the board. Well, I can only speak for myself. Take the time. I don't care what issue it is put before me. from what board I sit on. I take my time to do the due diligence, to know what's best for Del Norte County before I make my decisions.
Kind of sounds like your job.
Yeah, and it takes time and it takes effort, and I don't mind doing it. I love what I do. I really do. So to have people say, oh, you're just doing this or you're just throwing this out. No, there's a lot of thought behind this, and there's a reason why we do what we do. I'm always here to ask questions. If you're not sure why I made a vote or why I voted for something or did something, ask me. I'm pretty open. You know where you stand with me. Everybody does, good or bad. So I don't want people to think we're just out there willy-nilly doing whatever. We're honestly thinking about what's best for Del Norte County. At least I am. I can honestly tell you my decisions are always based on what's best for Del Norte County. Not everybody's are on the board. I can tell you that too. I see that regularly.
Do you think is that seems now I certainly don't want to get into an awkward situation where I'm standing up for Bob and Roger, but do you think is that kind of an assumption to make? Do you think they're actually they don't have the best interests of Del Norte County at heart?
I don't think what the vote they just took was the best interest of Del Norte County.
Okay. Let's veer off wildly into conjecture. Why in the world did this happen?
I have no idea. I do not even want to go into that dark place of someone's mind.
Accusations about it being a political move. It is an election year for Chris and for Jerry, right? So,
what are people going to remember? They banned cannabis, Will that block out a group? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to try to guess. I don't understand it. You've got somebody saying, I'm against cannabis. And then, I don't. Yeah, here it goes.
I'm all for business.
And then he turned around and said, I'll support a permanent ban.
Right.
So then I'm thinking, wow.
And is that the point where you said, wait, unless that's what you wanted
all along? I think I might have said that too. Is that what you're going for all along, Mr. Gitlin? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to wander into the dark depths of someone's mind.
I'm going to have to ask Roger or Bob.
Ask them why they did what they did. All I know is right now, my concern is Del Norte County. My concern is what can potentially happen with the state. What's going to happen to our local growers. I mean, I guess they could go out and get licenses and the dispensaries. But I'm worried about people from the outside coming in, I guess. I think that's probably the bottom line.
That's very much a part of the marijuana culture now too. There are people, there are consultants, there are people out there sort of traveling around the state
looking for the prime place.
In a sense, kind of carpetbagging this whole issue, right? And coming from out and one thing that is reassuring, and I've seen this with Jesse and with Blake Inscore, the last cannabis hour, this podcast that we have once a month, talking with some folks from out of the area, is that there's very much and it's reassuring in this case. Like usually I look at it as kind of a small-minded sort of thing, but not in this instance. This us and them kind of divide between Del Norte County and the rest of the state, and that's always kind of seemed to be a handicap to me up here, but I don't really think it is anymore. I've kind of come to see that in an entirely new light now. So it's like, yeah, everybody wants just back off, let us work this out. But this door has been opened now, and it could lead to all sorts of bad stuff.
It could, and we can only hope it doesn't. Being in the position I am and dealing with the different groups that I deal with, or committees and boards, we are continuously monitored by the state, and I don't know how many times I say, that policy that they just did is great for LA or Orange County, but it sucks for Del Norte. This isn't what, you guys don't understand. And I've said that many times to our senator. You don't understand.
It's
different. He does. I love our senator, Mike McGuire.
He's amazing. The boy senator. He's so cool.
He is. But he fights for that because so many times things are pushed on us that may be good for a suburban area, but is not good for us. And here we have the opportunity. Local control. What a concept,
from
right?
From the get-go. You don't have to fight for it.
And we had 2 supervisors take that away from us. And I, for the life of me, don't understand why.
And I can't. And we're left to sort of backwards engineer motivations and such. I don't know what the cynicism is behind if you have a political agenda, if it was a political move on the part of Bob and Roger to sacrifice Del Norte for that.
That's horrible. I hope it's not true, but why else? What?
Yeah, to put us in this very awkward, potentially costly situation.
Very costly. Anyway, about it, it's already costing us. Right now, it's costing
What are the costs?
us.
What are the costs currently?
Well,
just with what's happening?
right now, it's just with county council looking into the permanent, just with the permanent ban. We're too shy in that office.
Yeah.
They're not just dealing with cannabis; they're dealing with all the issues of Del Norte County.
Oh, wow.
And now they're trying to cover us. And so, yeah, there's just a cost right there. I mean, there's going to be several costs. And I actually said to somebody the other day, I said, I hope somebody monitors that. I'd like to see what the end cost is, because it'll come up.
So moving forward, then we've got with the cannabis issue, we've got nothing on the books right now. It's pell-mell, willy-nilly as far as state licensing goes in Del Norte County. Looking into something as soon as possible on the books that would probably, would you say, be a permanent ban, even though.
I don't know. I don't want to guess.
Okay, so whatever.
That'll be the next thing that comes to us to discuss the information on that.
Okay, so they're getting together.
Yeah.
What would be the easiest process? Yeah. Then let's just assume it's some sort of ban, which everybody in the room, including Jesse from the working group, everybody is like, no, keep the ban in place. It gives us the time to do this right. That ban will be voted upon. Then it will be big news. Del Norte County bans cannabis, but that's not the permanent solution, right? This is just to get us back to where we were at the beginning of this week.
So I think the comment that Berkowitz made was, he's forcing us to go forward. No, you just shoved us back a couple of months, Bob.
Exactly. It's the opposite. And I think it was Jesse who said when he got up, he goes, you know what? You ask about direction to the cannabis working group. We have a lot less direction now than we did an hour ago.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so, I'm feeling horrible looking at these people that we entrusted, and yeah.
Well, no, and what you said
right out from underneath them.
I believe what you said in the meeting too was we need to do the smart thing here, and this isn't the smart thing. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not.
All right. I see Jesse's out in the parking lot. He's up in oh gosh, it's about a half an hour still. I just want to ask you, it's been a year up there on the dais as a supervisor from District 2. What the heck has that been like for you?
Ups and downs. Overall, I love it.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
I sit on a lot of boards and committees. That was another topic this past week. I love what I do. I sit on the airport board. We're bringing in jet service. Contour should be up and ready to start selling tickets, I want to say the first week of April.
Oh, wow. Good.
Yeah. We were hoping March, but I talk about slow government process. It's in the federal government right now with DOT, so slow process. Recycling's been an issue, as you all know. We need to make changes. I've been very vocal about that, very frustrated about that. We need to make changes, and some people are just slow to make those changes, but I'll sit on that board and push it further.
So you don't refuse board assignments?
No, that was very interesting. Bob refused. I think I counted 9.
Was it 9 boards? It seemed like it went on for a long time.
Yeah, and they complain that they don't have any. I have less than both of them, I think. I was trying to count. I don't have it in front of me. And now you want to know why Jerry has more, or Supervisor Hemmingson or Howard, is because people don't want to do them, or they're asked to be removed from them, or the boards themselves asked for the supervisors to be removed. So there's a lot of things to it. I love the boards I sit on. Bob asked to be removed. I asked him why. He wouldn't tell me. He said to ask the chair. The chair let me know after the meeting. Bob refuses to sit on any board that myself or Supervisor Hemmingson's on. So I just kind of shook my head at that one. But again, we have all these boards that they don't have representation because he refuses to go to them. So one of us will pick them up, I'm sure, and have more. Even more, yeah. But
and down the road, then there'll be complaints about how they're not on any boards.
They're not on any boards. Yeah, it's kind of a cycle, and that's okay. I just do it. I love the boards I sit on. We got a lot of good things going on. I sit on mental health. I sit on solid waste. I sit on the airport authority. I sit on the Visitors Bureau.
Yeah.
We just hired a company that is going to promote Del Norte County. I'm super excited about that. They're out of Bend, Oregon. They promoted Bend. They did all the stuff for Port Angeles. I mean, just kind of like what we are, what the vibe we're trying to find here. Super excited to get started that.
I sat on that board briefly a couple of years ago, and they needed that.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do, guys. Let's just do it.
Right on, good,
just push. So that happened this year. That's exciting. So there's a lot of good stuff going on out there, and we're working forward with Last Chance Grade. Last year we went to, or Caltrans went and got us $5 million from California Transportation and to start some studies coming up. And they'll be going back to them again in probably May, sometime in the spring, asking for even more money. So
to continue the studies with the,
yeah.
That's got to be
because it is frustrating, but we don't have the money. We don't know where the money's coming from. And usually the direction is you get the money, then you start the studies. What we're doing differently is we're getting the studies out of the way, so when the money comes, they're done.
Wow.
Yeah, that's never been done, so that's huge.
How does that happen? What do you float a check or something?
A lot of people are just pushing. I mean, Caltrans, these guys they're working for us. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like it, but they are. I mean, like I said, they went last year. Malcolm Doherty, director of Caltrans, I've gotten to know him well this year. And they went and got the money, and they got the approval to go that route, and they'll be going back for more. So it gets it out of the way. We don't see that stuff happening, but it is happening, so that when we do get the funding, all that stuff that we have to do and all that environmental studies hopefully will all be out of the way and push us forward a little bit.
And hopefully
condense the time is what we're trying to do. Trying to do whatever we can do while we're waiting.
You're such an easy interview. I just move my hands and you say the sentence. That's really wow. That's great. Oh, wow. Lori, thank you for coming in and sharing. Is there anything supervisorial that you'd like to add?
No.
Okay.
No,
all right.
Not at all. I mean, thank you guys for trusting me. If you guys ever have questions, I'm always available. Shoot an email. Shoot a text, shoot me a message on Facebook. I promise to those who keep saying I need to get out there more, and I'll try to do that a little bit more as far as getting stuff on Facebook. I never thought of it as a news feed before, but I guess some people do.
When he started running, Bob was Facebook, boom, 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 a couple of years ago, and it's like, wow. And even before he came out as a candidate, I go, why is Bob all over Facebook all of a sudden? Oh, he's going to run for something.
Yeah.
You could almost see it coming. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, then personally, how the kids doing?
Excellent.
Yeah? Yeah, where are the girls? Are they both off at school now?
Yeah. Sarah is in year 3 at UC Santa Barbara.
Ooh,
marine biology, doing fabulous,
That's
working
cool.
at the aquarium on the pier there, just doing all kinds of fun stuff. And Christine is in her 2nd year because she did the gap year in Brazil. I know. She is in her 2nd year. She's going to be a teacher, an elementary school teacher. So she's at Chico State.
Oh, wow.
So for her, I think half of Crescent City kids are at Chico State.
Yeah, that
so it's
seems
really
to be,
good for her.
Do you think she'll end up coming back and being a teacher?
I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want this town to be safe, clean. I want it to be a place where our kids come back.
You said that when you were running. I remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Sam's a sophomore. And
is he a sophomore now?
I know. I was pregnant when we moved here, and he is a sophomore now, and he's doing really well. And he's the track started, and he stays involved with soccer and track, and I'm proud.
Great.
And my oldest son, my foster son, he has a 4-year-old, and they are pregnant with their 2nd child. And we found out yesterday we're having a girl.
Oh, wow.
So I'm so excited to have a baby girl arriving in June.
That's
so
well, congratulations.
Great. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Restaurant's doing well?
Restaurant is fantastic.
It's good eats down there.
We've been feeding the crew, the production crew.
Right. Yeah,
for the last month, they've been in town getting ready, and then all the rest showed up, I guess, on Monday.
Okay.
So, it's winter. It's a little bit slower in the wintertime down there compared to our summertime. But Kenny keeps that up and running while I try to do all my supervisor stuff and sell real estate in my free time. And I know it's crazy. But
and thank you for coming in and talking to us here today. Moving forward then with the cannabis issue, what's on the docket next then?
There's this cannabis working group next Wednesday, the 31st at 10 a.m.
Okay, all right. And then for the supervisors, the council's going to come back with perhaps an ordinance, or at least the direction to move with an ordinance to get on the books quickly?
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Supervisor District 2, Del Norte County, Lori Cowan. It's a pleasure having you here today. Please come back sometime soon and we'll continue the conversation, okay?
Thanks.
All right.